what it will be like when I walk by your side. I can only imagine what my eyes will see when your face is before me. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? To my knees or will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only imagine when that day comes, when I find myself standing inside. I can only imagine when all I would do is forever, forever worship you. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Or to my knees, or will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. Yeah, I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in all of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Or to my knees, or will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. I can only imagine.
In 1948, and we paid cash for it. It cost between $10,000 and $11,000, as I remember. And then we had enough left over. In '49, we bought a new car and went on a big trip down through California and through Washington and Oregon and into Yellowstone Park. And well, we've had a good life here. Then we built this about 20 feet or so here on from this. This was Sharon's bedroom, but we built on here to make it a family room, and then a little lean-to outside since it was built in '48. But we've had a good life. We've enjoyed it, and then after I lost Viola, my wife, in 1986, May of 1986, I was alone for 3.5 years, and then I wasn't going to get married, and then the longer I lived, the more I changed my mind, and then I met Wanda, and that's a long story, but kind of short too. But she's been just I don't think I could have got a duplicate to match anybody better than she matches my first wife, Viola, because their likes and dislikes and their things is just about the same. About the only difference is Wanda don't like to go out on the farm. She's not a farm girl. She's a city girl. And Viola was she was a worker out in the city, out in the country, she'd take my kids out in the morning and hoe all day and I'd go to work, and when I come back, they'd have several acres of sugar beets or tomatoes hoed, and so that meant an awful lot. She taught my kids how to work really out in the field and do things, and we had a good life. Cows in this part till it just didn't pay very much. I didn't want to go in the cow business too much, and so I milk cow anyway, and so I started raising crops and hay and grain and corn silage, and then went to more to tomatoes and sugar beets until the sugar took the sugar beets and the tomatoes away from us, and we went back to raising hay and grain and corn silage, selling that mostly, selling all of it really. And that made a good barn to store our hay in. Anyway, we went to tractors and instead of horses because it was easier to do and accomplish more work, get more work faster, and didn't have to stop and rest the horses. We used to plow our ground in the spring. In the ground we had to plow in the spring, not in the fall, because of our ground being sandy. If we'd plow in the fall, by spring wind would be blowing into out of the country, so we had to do all our plowing in the spring, and we'd plow our ground. We'd plow about 2.5 to 3 acres of ground a day with horses, 3 head of horses on a 2-way plow going both ways, back and forth. Once there was a burglar boy who went to rob a house. He crept in through the window as quiet as a mouse. He looked for a place to hide himself while the people went to sleep. Says he, at last I've found a place where I'll make my quiet sneak. So under the bed the burglar crept, he lay up close to the wall. He didn't know it was the old maid's room, or he wouldn't have had the call. Thinking of the gold he'd get while under the bed he lay. At 9 o'clock he saw a sight that turned his whiskers gray. 9 o'clock the old maid came, and not a word she said. Thinking everything was all right, she never looked under the bed. She pulled out her teeth and her bum glass eye and the hair from off her head, while the burglar boy threw 17 fits as he looked from under the bed. From under the bed the burglar crept, he was a total wreck. The old maid wasn't asleep, you know, but she grabbed him round the neck. She never got excited one bit, but she took it as clue as a clam. Say, now my prayers are answered, at last I've found a man. Then she pulled out her revolver and to the burglar said, now young man, you'll marry me or I'll blow off the top of your head. He looked all around the room and he saw no place to scoot. He looked at her teeth and her bum glass eye and he says, for gosh sake, shoot.
They stay on a wooden stick bed. That's what just a wooden stick, and they wrap around. Better grab it, honey. Did you want to get in it too? Did you want to get in?